Ever feel like just nailing a job interview is like some kind of black magic or something? You're there, you're polishing your resume for hours and hours, and then bam, out of nowhere, they hit you with a question that's totally out of left field.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about a time you failed. Talk about stressful, but what if there was a way to like crack the code on those tricky interview questions? Or even like get ahead of the curve entirely?
Well, what's really interesting is how AI is kind of changing the entire game when it comes to job hunting.
Okay.
And it's not just about, automating tasks or whatever. It's about giving you a real edge, like a real advantage in understanding like how this whole process even works.
Okay, so we're not saying robots are going to be like conducting the interviews.
Right.
It's more like we have a secret weapon now.
Exactly. Think of it like a secret weapon.
Hmm.
And the secret weapon is AI prompting.
Okay.
That's what we're diving into today with the book, The AI Playbook for Job Hunters by Yusuf Wilson.
500 AI prompts.
Yeah.
Designed to help you land your dream job.
Okay, it sounds almost too good to be true. But before we even get into that, for those of us who are not quite fluent in AI yet, what exactly AI is a prompt?
So think of a prompt like a key.
Okay.
You have this incredible library of information, right? Like this AI. And the prompt is how you unlock that knowledge, the specific knowledge that you need.
Okay.
Ask a really vague question, you're going to get a vague answer. Ask a well-crafted prompt. You're unlocking a treasure chest full of insights just for you.
So it's not just about going on to one of these AIs and being like, get me a job.
Right.
You have to be specific, strategic, almost like you're interviewing the AI. Yeah, like you're having a conversation with it. That's a great way to put it.
Right.
This is where the book's Anatomy of a Prompt section can really come in handy. It shows you how to structure your prompts, how to really get the most out of the AI.
Let's get specific. Can you give us an example of what a like really strong, well-crafted prompt actually looks like?
Yeah. So let's say you're trying to figure out what skills are hot right now in demand for a specific job. Let's just say UX designer. A really vague prompt would be like, what skills do UX designers need?
Okay.
Right? But a better one, a more effective one, would be something like, list the top 5 in-demand technical skills and the top 5 in-demand soft skills for a senior UX designer at a tech startup that specializes in fintech.
Okay. Wow. That second one was so specific.
Yeah.
You're basically giving the AI all the information it needs to give you back good information.
Exactly. All the context. And the book is chock full of these types of very specific examples across tons of different job hunting scenarios.
So it's almost like having a career coach and a super smart research assistant all in one.
Exactly. It's like having this superpower now at your fingertips.
This is already blowing my mind, and we're just getting started. But how does ChatGPT, everybody's talking about ChatGPT. How does that fit into all of this?
So ChatGPT is a fantastic starting point for experimenting with these AI prompts.
Okay.
Even if you end up using other AI tools down the line, it's designed to be very user-friendly.
Which I appreciate because I'll be honest, sometimes when I go on some of these AI tools, it's like I need to go back to school. I need like a computer science degree to even log in.
Exactly. It can feel very intimidating. But with ChatGPT, you can jump right in. It's also great because you get instant feedback.
Okay.
So you can actually refine your prompts and see what's working, what's giving you the most useful answers.
So it's like having a practice buddy for your like AI prompting skill.
Exactly. And as you get better at crafting those prompts, you unlock more and more valuable information.
I'm starting to think of this as like learning a new language. You start with the basics, like how to ask for directions, and then before you know it, you're having full-blown conversations.
That's a great way to look at it. It is like learning a new language. And this book is your phrase book. It's your conversation guide for the world of AI and job hunting.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Even with an amazing guide, 500 prompts, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
Where do you even begin to tackle that?
Right.
That's a great question, and I'm sure our listeners are wondering the same thing. Let's unpack that right after this quick break. All right, so we are back. And I'll be honest, my mind is still spinning a little bit about this whole AI prompting thing.
Yeah.
But like we were saying before the break, 500 prompts, that's intense.
It's a lot.
That's like, when you open up a menu and there are 500 things on it? It's exciting, but it's also like, where do I even begin?
Right. Yeah, you get that decision fatigue for sure.
Exactly.
But that's where this book is structured so well, because it's not just this like random assortment of prompts. It's very carefully categorized and organized to guide you
Okay.
through all these different stages of a job search.
So instead of just like information overload, it's more like choose your own adventure.
Exactly. You can jump to the section that's relevant for you at that time. And it also gives you these really clever, like, key codes, I guess we could call them,
Okay.
that help you unlock these deeper levels of personalization.
Okay.
So, for example, with some of these prompts, you can actually attach your resume
Wait, hold on. Attach your resume to the AI.
to the AI. Yes.
What? How?
Yeah. So, like, let's say you want to come up with some bullet points for, like, the work experience section of your resume.
Right.
If you attach your resume, the AI can actually analyze your past roles
Okay.
and tailor those bullet points
Yeah.
to really highlight what's most impressive, what's most relevant.
So instead of just getting like generic advice, it's like having a professional resume writer analyze your background.
Totally, totally.
That's incredible.
And it's so simple. Like, the tech behind it is very sophisticated, obviously, but from a user standpoint, it's very, very easy to do.
Okay, that's amazing. What are some of the other specific categories? Like, what are some other things that this book goes into?
So there's a whole section on acing those, like, those behavioral interview questions that everybody gets a little bit nervous about.
Oh, yeah.
Things like, tell me about a time you failed, or,
Oh, I hate those.
describe a situation where you had to deal with a difficult colleague. Everybody sweats a little bit when they get those questions.
Even if you've I feel like I've been in the workforce for a while now. I've done a lot of interviews. Those still make me nervous.
For sure.
So how does the book like tackle that?
Yeah. So it gives you prompts that will help you craft these really compelling answers, insightful answers that get to the heart of what the interviewer is actually looking for. Like, instead of just saying, oh, yeah, I failed and it was awful.
Yeah.
They help you think through, okay, what did you learn from that experience and how has that shaped, your approach?
Right. So it's not about like having a canned answer. It's like understanding how to showcase yourself in the best way possible.
Right. It helps you tell your story, because ultimately that's what an interview is, right?
Totally.
It's you telling your story, demonstrating your skills.
Yeah. And your potential, I think, is a big part of that too.
Exactly.
It's like, all right, here's who I am now, but here's also where I can go.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm capable of.
It's like a secret weapon, like you said, to help you prepare for these really key moments in your career.
Totally.
I love that. I'm curious, though, we talked about the interview prep, but like, what about something like, oh, I don't know, navigating a layoff, which is unfortunately pretty relevant these days.
It's a reality for a lot of people. And that's the amazing thing. There's an entire section on that in the book.
Okay, wow. See, this is what I mean. Like, this book really does seem like it has it all. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
What kind of prompts, like, what can somebody expect in that section? Somebody who is going through that.
Yeah, so it covers a range of scenarios, like how to negotiate a severance package, how to identify the skills that you can leverage that are transferable maybe to a new career even. There's even prompts on, like, how to manage the financial and the emotional stress of job loss, which is so important.
Yeah, because that's the thing, too. Nobody really talks about the emotional part of going through something like that. It's like, the book really seems to be set up in a way to anticipate these moments and, like, not just give you the tools, but give you the, like, support as well.
Yeah, for sure. The mental and the emotional support. So those are real things. Those are real challenges that people are facing.
Oh, totally. So, okay, we've covered like interview prep, navigating layoffs. What other big, scary job hunting things does this book prepare you for?
Well, one area that I think is really fascinating is it has a whole section on identifying emerging trends in your field.
Okay, so that's less about like landing the job and more about like staying ahead of the curve, like future-proofing your career kind of thing. Yeah. Tell me more. Future-proofing your career. Okay, that's not something you hear every day. How can AI like help with that? It's not like it can predict the future.
It can't predict the future.
Okay.
But it can analyze tons of data, like an insane amount of data, to identify trends and patterns.
Okay.
So think about it this way. Imagine if you could read every article, every research paper, every industry report related to your field.
My eyes are already hurting thinking about that much reading. I can't even get through my inbox some days.
I know, it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
It would be completely overwhelming for a human. But AI can process all of that information in seconds.
Okay.
and then pinpoint what's trending. So what skills, what technologies, what roles are gaining traction.
So it's like having a crystal ball, but instead of giving me like, vague predictions, it's giving me real information, real data.
Exactly. Actionable insights like,
Yeah.
here where this industry is going, here's what you need to know, here's how to stay ahead of the game.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me an example. How would this work, like in the real world?
Okay. Let's say you're a software developer and you specialize in web applications.
Okay. So I'm like at my computer, I'm coding away.
You're writing code, yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine being able to ask the AI something like, okay, what are the top 3 emerging technologies that are going to impact my job, web application development, in the next 2 to 3 years?
That is a question that I should probably know the answer to.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the AI could generate a list for you. So maybe it's things like Web 3.0, serverless computing, AI-powered personalization, things that you might have heard of, but will tell you why they're important and how they're actually being used.
Okay, so it's not just giving you like buzzwords. It's really giving you like context and information.
Exactly. It connects the dots.
Okay.
And helps you understand what you need to either learn or upskill or, start experimenting with now.
That's amazing. I mean, it really is like getting a sneak peek into the future of your career.
Yeah.
So, okay, we talked about acing interviews. We talked about navigating layoffs, future-proofing your career. It feels like this book really does like equip you for anything in the job hunting world.
Yeah. Any challenge you could possibly face. There's some guidance in here. There's some support in here.
I am so impressed with the way this book takes something that's so complicated, this world of AI, and makes it feel approachable. But before we wrap up, I'm curious, there's a part in the book where it talks about prompting being a skill, that you develop over time, that it's like learning a new language. What advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out, who's maybe a little overwhelmed, a little unsure of themselves?
I think the biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid to experiment. Think of it like learning a new recipe. You're not going to bake the perfect cake on the first try.
No, 100%. My first 5 cakes were very questionable.
Exactly. It takes practice.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with AI prompting. Start with the prompts in the book.
Okay.
Play around with them.
Yeah.
Try different wording.
Okay.
Add more context. See what happens.
So it's more about exploration than it is like finding the perfect prompt right away.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the perfect prompt because the AI is constantly learning and evolving. So something that works today might not work as well, 6 months from now.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So yeah, just be open to that process. It's a learning curve. And even if you get a response that you weren't expecting, that can still spark a new idea or a new direction to explore.
Totally. It's about embracing the process, and using these prompts as stepping stones to really unlock your potential.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Well, this has been so insightful. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. It's a fascinating topic.
It is. It is. And hey, maybe we'll do another deep dive sometime on all the other AI tools out there because
There's so many. Yeah.
it's not just about ChatGPT. There's a whole world. But I think for today, we've given our listeners a lot to think about and a lot to explore.
For sure. Yeah.
So if you're ready to supercharge your job search, take control of your career destiny, check out the book, The AI Playbook for Job Hunters. You might just surprise yourself with what you can achieve.
You really might.
Until next time, keep those prompts sharp, and remember, the future of work is waiting to be unlocked.